Imagine 3 tons of steel and explosives gliding silently through the clouds, presenting a profile that standard air defenses were not designed to intercept. The irony is that this crude, Soviet-era weapon is steering itself toward its target using modern American and Western microchips. Welcome to U.S. Affairs. Today, we are looking at the evolution of the FAB-3000 glide bomb and the tactical pressure it is placing on frontline defenses. This specific weapon highlights a tension in modern air defense: the difficulty of using a limited supply of high-tech interceptors to stop high volumes of cheap, heavy munitions. For the first 2 years of the conflict in Ukraine, robust American-backed air defense networks successfully held the Russian Air Force at a distance. If a bomber flew too close, it risked being shot down. But starting in 2024, Russia introduced 3-ton glide bombs to drop ordnance from outside that reach, leveling high-rise buildings in cities like Kharkiv and Zaporizhia with single strikes. This chart shows the exponential month-over-month increase in glide bomb deployment throughout 2024. By mid-year, Russia was dropping over 3,500 of these weapons every month. That volume of destruction challenges traditional missile defense strategies. Firing enough interceptor missiles to stop thousands of bombs a month creates a tactical crisis for Ukraine and its NATO backers. To understand why these attacks are so difficult to stop, we have to look at how the bomb is built. Underneath the upgrades, the FAB-3000 is just a cheap Cold War-era steel casing filled with 1.4 tons of raw explosives. The transition from a simple gravity bomb to a guided weapon happens here, the UMPK, or Universal Planning and Correction Module. This is a relatively simple conversion kit. Once the bomb is released, its wings deploy, and an onboard satellite navigation system steers the heavy mass towards its target. The precision guidance inside these modules relies on foreign components. According to a recent NATO report, 71% of the microelectronics identified in these Russian kits originate from manufacturers based in the US and other Western-aligned countries. By combining a vast stockpile of Soviet steel with accessible commercial technology, Moscow has created a precision weapon for a fraction of the cost of a modern cruise missile. This diagram illustrates the geometry of the attack. A Russian Su-34 fighter bomber can fly at high altitude, releasing the bomb up to 60 kilometers away from its target. That distance allows the pilot to turn back safely. The aircraft stays well outside the range of most short-range air defenses, which are positioned to cover the front lines, but fall short of the bomber's release point. Attempting to shoot down the bomb itself is an economic challenge. A single Patriot missile costs millions of dollars. Using them to intercept retrofitted iron bombs that cost very little to produce creates a massive imbalance in resources. Military analysts call this a cost imposition dilemma. Trying to defeat these bombs one by one risks exhausting the financial and logistical capacity of NATO-supplied defense systems. Since destroying the bomb physically is often unsustainable, defenders are attempting to break the kill chain by targeting its navigation. Ukrainian forces use electronic warfare systems like Pokrova to blanket the area in noise. This is designed to jam the GPS and GLONASS signals the bomb needs to stay on course. However, electronic warfare has limits. Russian engineers continue to modify the modules to make them more resilient against signal interference, attempting to maintain accuracy despite the jamming. These non-kinetic measures are necessary, but they struggle to mitigate the sheer scale of the threat. When 3-ton bombs are launched en masse, signal interference alone cannot provide complete protection. This leads to a more aggressive tactical shift: the need to shoot the archer before the weapon can be launched. This strategy requires Ukrainian forces to risk high-value systems, moving Patriot batteries close to the front lines to ambush Russian bombers in the air. The introduction of F-16s provides a mobile countermeasure. These jets are intended to challenge Russian aircraft at greater distances, forcing them to fly further back from their release points. This also points toward the strategic necessity of striking the airfields where these bombs are stored and loaded, attempting to neutralize the threat while it is still on the ground. The FAB-3000 shows that cheap, mass-produced precision can be just as difficult to manage as sophisticated, expensive missiles. For the US and NATO, This weapon serves as a prompt to adapt military doctrine towards countering abundant, low-cost threats. To see how these tactical shifts are affecting global security, subscribe to U.S. Affairs for more in-depth analysis.